What happens when Hollywood royalty meets daytime? Television's most unforgiving panel. You won't believe what unfolds when Meghan Markle sits down with Joy Behar and The View co-hosts in what was supposed to be a routine promotional interview. This isn't just another celebrity appearance gone wrong. This is a masterclass in how quickly things can spiral completely out of control on live television. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe what unfolds. When these two powerhouses clash in the most explosive way possible, the tension was palpable from the moment Meghan Markle walked onto the View set. What started as a seemingly innocent book promotion turned into one of the most heated confrontations in daytime television history. The Duchess arrived wearing a cream-colored blazer, her signature confident smile plastered across her face, but seasoned viewers could sense something brewing beneath the surface. Joy Behar, never one to hold back, had clearly come prepared for battle. "Welcome back to The View. I'm Joy Behar, and we're here with Meghan Markle," Joy announced with that familiar edge in her voice that regular viewers no means trouble is coming. The studio audience applauded politely, but the energy felt forced, artificial. Meghan settled into her chair, crossing her legs with practiced elegance, but her grip on her coffee mug revealed the first crack in her composed facade. "Meghan, thank you for being here." Joy continued her tone, already carrying an undertone that suggested this wouldn't be the typical softball interview. "You're here to talk about your new children's book, but I think our viewers are more interested in some of the other projects you've been working on lately." The other co-hosts exchanged glances. Whoopi Goldberg leaned back in her chair with that knowing look that said she could smell drama coming from a mile away. Sarah Haynes shifted uncomfortably, while Supnone host maintained her lawyer's poker face, pen poised and ready to strike. When the moment presented itself, "Well, Joy, I'm excited to talk about anything that helps children develop empathy and understanding," Meghan responded, her media training kicking in automatically. But there was something in her voice, a slight defensiveness, that Joy's sharp ears picked up immediately. "Empathy and understanding," Joy repeated, slowly letting the words hang in the air like smoke. "That's interesting, because I've been wondering about the empathy and understanding you've shown your own family lately." The studio fell silent. Even the camera operators seemed to hold their breath. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, the first real jab. Meghan's smile faltered for just a fraction of a second, but she recovered quickly. "I think family relationships are complicated, Joy, and I've always believed in handling private matters privately," Meghan replied, but her voice had gained an edge that hadn't been there moments before. Sunny Holston jumped in, sensing blood in the water. "But Meghan, when you put your family business on international television, in interviews, in Netflix documentaries, can you really call it private anymore?" The audience murmured their approval. This was what they came to see, the kind of direct questioning that most interviewers wouldn't dare attempt. Meghan's posture straightened, her Duchess training wearing with her natural instinct to defend herself. "I think there's a difference between sharing your truth and exploiting family drama for entertainment," Meghan shot back, and there it was, the first real sign that she was ready to fight fire with fire. Joy's eyes lit up like a predator who had just spotted wounded prey. "Your truth, that's a very California way of putting it, isn't it? But what about everyone else's truth? What about your father's truth, your sister's truth?" "My father chose to work with the tabloids against me," Meghan said, her voice rising slightly. "That's not my truth. That's a fact, but, sweetheart," Joy continued, using that condescending tone that had made her famous for getting under guest skin, "don't you think there might be more to the story? Don't you think maybe, just maybe, you played a role in how things went down?" The other co-hosts were watching this unfold like spectators at a tennis match. Whoopi remained strategically silent, letting Joy do the heavy lifting. Sarah looked genuinely uncomfortable, while Sunny appeared to be taking mental notes for her next move. Meghan took a sip of her coffee, clearly buying time to formulate her response. When she set the mug down, her hand was trembling slightly, barely noticeable to the naked eye. But the HD cameras caught everything. "Joy, I came here to talk about children's literacy and empowerment, not to relitigate family drama that the media has already dissected ad nauseum," Meghan said, attempting to regain control of the conversation. "But that's just it," Joy unrelentlessly. "You can't separate the two, can you? You want to talk about empowering children, but what kind of example are you setting when you cut off your own family?" When you make accusations on international television without giving them a chance to defend themselves, the studio audience was completely engaged. Now, some nodding in agreement with Joy, others looking sympathetic. Toward Meghan, this was exactly the kind of divided reaction that made for great television and even better social media buzz. Meghan's jaw tightened. Visibly, I think that's a very unfair characterization of what happened. My family had multiple opportunities to defend themselves. They chose to work with the tabloids instead of working with me. Or maybe Sunani interjected smoothly, they felt they had no choice but to defend themselves publicly, because you were already doing your defending publicly when you tell Oprah that someone in the royal family made racist comments about your son. That's not exactly keeping things private, is it? The gloves were officially off now. Meghan turned to face Sunny directly, her composure cracking, just enough to reveal the fire underneath. Are you seriously questioning whether I should have spoken up about racism directed at my child? I'm questioning the timing, the venue, and the lack of specificity that allowed people to draw their own conclusions and potentially implicate innocent people, Sunny replied. With prosecutorial precision, Joy jumped back, sensing the perfect moment to escalate. Further, and speaking of timing, isn't it convenient that all these revelations came out right when you needed to rehabilitate your public image, right? When you needed to justify walking away from your royal duties? Meghan's eyes flashed dangerously. Convenient? You'd think it was convenient for me to relive the most traumatic experiences of my life on international television. You'd think it was convenient to have my mental health struggles dissected by millions of people. The tension in the studio had reached a boiling point. What had started as pointed questions had evolved into something much more personal, much more volatile, and this was just the beginning, because what happened next would make television history. But the real fireworks were about to begin. Joy Behar wasn't finished, not by a long shot. She leaned forward in her chair, that predatory gleam in her eyes growing brighter as she sensed Meghan's